Hello, fellow players of Ghost Recon Phantoms. This is Electro Speed, and I'm here to bring you a few recommendations on Modmaster loadouts to try with the new Modmaster system. So, obviously, the Modmaster system is a pretty new system, and as such, will probably take a bit of getting used to, and take at least a few minutes for you to understand what kind of attachments you want to put on your gun so that it suits your playstyle. So I'm just here to give you a few recommendations on weapons, and you can start off from there or customize your guns completely how you'd like them. So yeah, here I'm going to start with the recon weapons, and here's the MSR with a bipod and a short barrel, which is a combination you could not previously obtain. It obviously has that 86 fire rate that is so valued for the MSRC. Now what the bipod and the short barrel is going to do is reduce settle time so that it's practically non-existent, as well as sway. So yeah, you can see here the settle time is pretty quick, as well as the sway. It's obviously very fast, and this means that you're going to be able to get a lot of shots downrange very quickly. Now, there are always drawbacks to weapons, and the biggest one for this gun specifically is that the short barrel means you're going to be losing quite a bit of damage over distance. I don't think I got any footage of the 200-meter targets, but it was not enough to kill an assault, even with the 2.0 headshot multiplier bonus. So yeah, as well as the MSR has a lower ballistics calculation energy, which means that it's going to lose damage faster than it would with, say, an M200 or a Nemesis. So yeah, there's that. However, with the grip, this gun does have 0.8 seconds of ready time, which means that it's really fun to run around and no-scope people with. And as you can see here, obviously, the grip helping with out-of-cover sway and out-of-cover settle time. So yeah, I would recommend this gun with the bipod because of the low settle time and the low sway. But with the grip, it is just as deadly, and maybe even more deadly in some situations because of the low ready time. So yeah, up next we have the M200 with a short barrel and a bipod. And obviously this is going to have a lot of the same advantages of the MSR with a short barrel and a bipod, namely high fire rate, short settle time, and no sway. And obviously fire rate is not going to be as good, while it does do the same amount of damage. So what are the advantages of this weapon? Well, for one thing, it carries damage much farther than the MSR with a short barrel because it fires a bigger round, meaning that it carries energy farther and has more energy than the MSR, which means that it will carry damage farther. So yeah, I would recommend this gun again with a bipod. In fact, I'd really recommend any sniper rifle with a short barrel and a bipod because of that faster fire rate. And obviously the M200 with a short barrel does not have as fast of a fire rate as the MSR with a short barrel. It makes up for that in the damage differential at 200 meters, which is quite great. If you want to go test that out, you can just put a short barrel on an MSR and a short barrel on an M200, and you will see how much damage differential is because the two guns do the same damage. So yeah, you can put a grip on it, although I wouldn't recommend it unless you're really into stand sniping, in which case I guess it would be okay, but I would really recommend putting the bipod on this gun because of that quick settle time. And obviously you can see here the settle time is still really quick with the grip in cover. So here we have the Nemesis. Obviously this is one of the variants you could not get previously with the short barrel and the grip and or bipod. It does 142 damage at 33 fire rate, which seems pretty slow at first, and actually is when compared to most bolt-action sniper rifles. However, for the amount of damage that it's doing, 33 fire rate really is not that bad. So yeah, I would recommend. Well, I don't know. It kind of goes either way. I kind of like stand sniping with this gun because it does so much damage. But obviously with the bipod, it's going to have that low settle time and low sway that you really want in a bolt-action cover sniper rifle. So you can see here it's already doing massive amounts of damage to the head from up close. And especially with the new armor penetration values that were given out just recently, it's going to be doing a lot of damage to people, and especially with mag ammo. It does something like 180 something damage if my math is right. So yeah, and that's just in one shot, and that is at 33 fire rate. So yeah, you can obviously see it's not losing much damage over distance due to the ballistics calculations that take place within the game's engine. Yeah, so if you really want a long-range weapon, I would suggest getting this loadout with the short barrel and the bipod, because yeah, if you see here, it still does well over 200 damage in the head at 200 meters, and 200 meters is really the max that you're ever going to experience in game. Alright, so up next we have the assault weapons. I'm going to start off with really the only new shotgun variant that you can get, the only really good one, the NS2000 SV, which does 240 damage, 60 fire rate, and 16 accuracy, all at a ready time of 0.65 seconds. So it's a pretty hard-hitting gun, considering everything. So yeah, previously the long barrel was not available for the NS2000, which makes this one really unique. So obviously it's going to do a lot of damage. You can see it does a lot of damage very far out too. The biggest drawback here is that it only has 60 fire rate, which means you're only firing once a second, which really is not that good. But if you load mag ammo into it, it doesn't really matter, since if you get more than like 4 pellets on a recon, you pretty much got him stopped him dead in his tracks. And if you get more than 6 on an assault, you've got an instant kill, really. So up next we have the F2000 with a long barrel and a grip. This is pretty much the F2000 SV War from the War Reloaded pack. Yeah, so previously you could get an F2000 with a long barrel, however you cannot put a grip on it, which would increase control and lower ready time at the cost of a bit of accuracy. So you can get that now, and I just wanted to point that out. It's a pretty good all-around weapon. 0.95 seconds ready time, and yeah, 800 fire rate and 42 damage, if I recall correctly. Yeah, the accuracy isn't that good, but the F2000 is not really known for its accuracy. So if you want an accurate gun, you might as well go for the Mark 17 or the AK-12. So here we have the ACR with the max control loadout, and you might be thinking, well, this looks pretty much exactly the same as the ACR SV from GRO, but it isn't. It has a bit more control and 0.5 seconds more ready time, and obviously you have to customize everything to get this sort of specialty assault rifle. And I have a muzzle brake on it, which gives a bit more control. And with the grip, you can put a grip on the long barrel weapons now. I would recommend this if you really want more of an all-around weapon, as this loadout is more of a long-range weapon, more of a poor man's AK-12, really. Yeah, but it has really insane control for its tier and for the gun. Obviously, it's not going to have that much damage, only 38 damage, which, all things considered, isn't really that much, but it does offset it a bit by a pretty decent fire rate. Not that of an F2000, mind you, but a decent fire rate nonetheless. It's still pretty much a direct upgrade from the Mark 16. And obviously you can see here, even with my terrible aiming, it's pretty easy to keep the scope on the target, and it's especially easy in cover where it has absolutely no recoil whatsoever. Yeah, I would buy this gun just to make people mad that I can spray all 40 rounds downrange and hit them in the face every time. So this is the MG36 with a long barrel and a grip, and this is one of the loadouts you cannot do previously because you cannot put a grip on the MG36 before. So yeah, I really recommend this loadout for the specs you like to close quarter, as I like to call it, because it has that low ready time and that nice high damage and the fire rate too. It's a really good close quarters weapon, especially if you want something to replace the old MG36 KV. This is the perfect gun to do just that. Obviously, with the grip, it's not going to be as stable at long ranges, and especially with that LMG spread, you're not going to be able to get very many bullets on target past 50 or 60 meters. But like I said, it's a much better close quarters weapon. And if you want to put a short barrel and a bipod on it, it has pretty much the opposite effect. It has very high control and a very high fire rate. So yeah, I would recommend these two loadouts for the MG36 any day. So right here we have probably the best Modmaster loadout in the game right now, in my opinion. It is the Mark 48 fully spec'd out for CQC. That means a capped stock, a short barrel, and a grip, and no sights. So yeah, it does a very good amount of damage for what it does, and it's pretty controllable, surprisingly controllable actually. It feels a lot like the Para, the old M249 Para. So obviously I like to have a flash suppressor on it so the muzzle flash does not get in the way, but for the fire rate and the damage that it does, it has surprisingly good control, and 0.65 seconds of ready time, which is pretty much on par with the close quarters assault rifles. So yeah, I would probably take this gun with me any day. It's not going to be very good at high ranges, but as you can see there, it did 133 damage to the head, which is pretty good for close quarters LMG. Alright everybody, thanks for watching this video. I hope you learned some stuff about the new Modmaster system, and hopefully you have a good idea of what you want on your Modmaster weapon. So, see you guys, and until next time, have fun shooting people in the face.